कुलपति स्वामीන් वහන්සේ උපාධි ප්‍රදානෝත්සවයේ ප්‍රධාන ආරාධිත මහාචාර්ය හේරත් එට්ඨාරච්චිගේ දේශප්‍රිය නන්දන පුෂ්පකුමාර ඕපාත මැතිතුමා විසින් උපාධි ප්‍රදානෝත්සව දේශනය පවත්වනු ඇත.
Venerable Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, Deans and Heads of the faculties, members of the Senate and the Council, members of the academic and non-academic staff, distinguished guests, parents and graduates. First of all, I take this opportunity to thank Vice Chancellor, Dean, Heads and members of the Board of the Faculty of Management Studies and members of the Convocation Committee of Sabaragama University of Sri Lanka for inviting me to deliver the 2015 Convocation Address. Indeed, I consider it a great honor bestowed upon me, and also it is a privilege for me to share some thoughts with you on this vital occasion of your life, wherein you are assembled after several years of strenuous studies to secure your degree. Let me congratulate all the graduates. To secure a degree from a state university is a great achievement in one's life. I was requested to deliver this speech based on my life experiences. So I reflected some of my life experiences which may be useful for you. So I would like to present them in terms of lessons. Lesson number 1. Don't get frustrated and afraid of a destitute and underprivileged environment. Lack of resources in the environment will force you to work more, to work hard, and also will cause you to suffer. However, consider that suffering as a positive thing, because suffering is a prerequisite to reach a great success. Without complaining, explore various opportunities and you will be able to find out some sources of assistance which will enable you to achieve your desired success. To achieve a good level of success in an underprivileged setting is better or more praiseworthy than achieving an excellent level of success in a privileged setting. As far as my life is concerned, so I got my primary education at Tittavalgolla Kanishta Vidyalaya in Mathare district. The school had only 2 small buildings, one of which had a roof made of woven coconut fronds, under which I started my primary education, formal education. When I was reading for my A-level examination, I faced various hardships. One of such hardships was a dearth of graduate teachers, especially to teach 2 essential subjects, commerce and finance and accountancy. This indeed compelled me to search textbooks and learning materials. So indeed, I engage in extensive and rigorous self-studies without attending any form of private education, even though at that time the private education was getting popular in the country. Another hardship was lack of continuous transport facility, which compelled me on many days to walk from home to the school. So indeed I did walking from one telephone post to the next one, and then I did running from the next telephone post to the other one, and so on, nearly more than 3 miles to the school. Lack of proper direction caused me to really dream freely about my future. In fact, in my school, Dambulu Mahavidyalaya in Matale district, there was no examination center to sit for my A-level exam. The examination center was held in Matale Mandandavali school, to which really I had to travel by bus for exactly 28 miles. 28 miles. So finally, it was possible for me to get the best results in the commerce stream in the Matale district, and of course to enter the University of Sri Jayawardhanapura as the first student from my college, also the only student at that time who entered a university. Lesson number 2, never give up your endeavor to achieve your desired employment goal, though you receive failures. Failures are inevitable in life. Failures will teach you important lessons. So in fact, careful examinations of your failures will enable you to ascertain reasons for failures. They may be your blunders, they may be your weaknesses, or maybe bad practices, inappropriate systems being followed by some people who are not ethical. So I had a goal of becoming a university teacher. So I had to face for the post of assistant lecturer, an interview for the post of assistant lecturer in 1986. In fact, in my batch, there were 5 top students. 2 students were selected. I was rejected. So it was surprise to note that those 2 graduates who were selected had not done the independent study and also had not been competent in English. At that time, teaching had been not only in Sinhala, but also in English. So in fact, I was the only person who did the independent research in English medium and got an A grade from Mr. R.A. Pereira, who was an excellent teacher. So in fact, who was the teacher who taught me ABCD in HRA. So anyway, I did not give up my desire to become a university teacher. Then I faced my second interview in 1987. In fact, there were 12 candidates for the interview. So 2 candidates, including myself, were selected. So at that time also, I was not very happy because the appointment was a temporary one. University had a policy of hiring university academics on temporary basis. Then in 1989, I faced for my 3rd interview to gain the permanency. So when I faced the interview, so I came to the interview as Class 3 officer in Sri Lanka Education Administrative Service, to which I was selected through a very competitive selection process. So anyhow, finally, on 3rd April 1989, I was able to become a permanent assistant lecturer in business administration. Lesson number 3. When there are options to choose, evaluate each option according to your values and interests, not others. That is lesson number 3. Don't decide owing to the mere reason that majority of people have decided it. Normally, the attitudes the majority of people have about jobs, various employment opportunities, and the fields of education are inappropriate. So so choose to work at something which you prefer, something which really gives a pleasure to you, something which you really love to do. It may not be the best one, or one of the best one, or even a better one. It doesn't matter. What matters here is proper matching with your values and interest. So as far as I am concerned, so I turned down several employment opportunities, including Sri Lanka Education Administrative Service, Sri Lanka Administrative Service, to become a university teacher. As far as my teaching is concerned, I could have specialized in accountancy or finance or marketing management, but I decided to specialize in human resource management, even though the human resource management was not a popular field of business management at that time. So in fact, in Sri Lanka, that was the field most neglected at that time. Lesson number 4. Perform the current job excellently. Lesson number 4. Perform the current job excellently. So they learn your job, the job description, and also learn how your job is evaluated. You have to perform your job with high commitment and high engagement. So in fact, you should try to excel in all the aspects of your job performance, including quantity of work, quality of work, attendance, punctuality, cooperations, and other dimensions of your job performance. So to do, in fact, your current job in an excellent way is a key to receiving permanency on your probationary appointment. Also to improving the probability of getting the next promotion. So in fact, as far as my job is concerned, there was no properly documented job description about the post of assistant lecturer and the lecturer. But I myself explored and developed such a thing for my purpose. Lesson number 5. Go beyond the job description and engage in organizational citizenship behavior. Go beyond the job description and engage in organizational citizenship behavior. Organizational citizenship behavior is a special type of employee behavior. That means the employee's willingness to perform various things, voluntary things, so as to help to achieve organizational goals. That is doing more than your job description. So assume you have a job for which there is a job description according to which you are supposed to perform 10 duties. But if you perform more than 10 duties, that exhibits your organizational citizenship behavior. So you are supposed to do more than you are supposed to do. Or you decide voluntarily to do more than you are supposed to do. That is called organizational citizenship behavior. So you can help your fellow workers. You can create a good image for the organization to the outsiders. You can engage in various activities of corporate or organizational social responsibility. They are some of the specific examples of organizational citizenship behavior. Some general three specific behaviors of my working are: I taught more than I was supposed to teach. I supervised student research more than I was supposed to supervise. I serve as a chairman and a member of various committees which are not statutory. Lesson number 6, engage in pioneering. Don't stop thinking and doing a new one because others have not done it. Others have not embarked. Creativity and innovation are essential things. So you have ability, also a right to create and innovate. Without creativity and innovation, there is no competitive advantage. There is no progress of success. Progress of success. So explore opportunities in which you can become a pioneer. So as far as my life is concerned, there was no single medium textbook on HRM. So I decided to write that first book in English single medium in 1995. There was no single textbook in English medium which had the matching with Sri Lankan context until 2009. So I developed a very comprehensive, pragmatic book based on a distinct model containing many theoretical formulations and of course many applications such as Sri Lankan cases, critical incidents and skill builders. So my book, Personal Quality, introducing several concepts such as 3 V's, 3 P's and also 2 courses at both the undergraduate level and master's level in respect of personal quality were some, in fact, 2 pioneering works in management education, especially in Sri Lanka. When there was no specific specialization in HRM relating to management degrees offered by Sri Lankan universities, I contributed to start such specializations. Sri Lankan Journal of Human Resource Management was another example inter alia. Lesson number 7, be an internal, a person with internal locus of control rather than an external, a person with an external locus of control. So be an internal rather than an external. So here the concept is locus of control. So what is locus of control? It means the extent to which a person believes that his actions will determine his resource in his life or his or her. So the internal locus of control is possessed by a person who believes that everything happens to his or her life is because of him or her. External locus of control is possessed by a person who doesn't believe himself or herself. He believes or she believes that his life or her life successes are determined by other factors, such as other people, luck, maybe invisible hand, or some situations. So if you are an internal, you believe that your behavior has a serious impact on everything happening to you. If you are an external, you don't believe that your behavior has a serious impact on your success, on your achievements. It is because of others, because of luck, or because of something else. So my advice is to be an internal rather than being an external. According to many research studies, those who were more successful, those who had higher level of job satisfaction, those who had higher number of promotions, those who had higher balance between work life and family life were the people who were internals, not externals. So I was an internal in that, indeed. So I believed what I did. I believe what I'm doing. So I know that my past is my present is the result of what I did in the past. So I know that my future will be the result of what I'm doing now. So now lesson number 8. Set a good example. This is a very serious lesson that I would like to emphasize. To set a good example. Before discipline, instructing, directing others, you should set an example. You should practice what you preach. In fact, what you preach, you should practice in reality. Action talks louder. Your exemplary life is instrumental, effective in changing others in the way that you want to change them. In my life, many things I practice first, then I give advice. Before I expecting something significant from others, first I engage in that and perform it successfully. Before I expected punctuality from others, first I was punctual. Before expecting from my, when I was working as the head of the department, from my academics, not to cancel lectures, first I did not cancel lectures. Before teaching about how to have a balance between work life and family life, I had that balance. Before expecting self-discipline from others, I demonstrated self-discipline to others. Before teaching about how to manage career and how to manage time, I managed myself, my career successfully and time successfully. So in fact, before teaching, influencing others to be a green person, first I became a green person. To a certain extent, I played the roles of conservationist, preservationist, non-polluter, and also the make of looking like natural things. Lesson number 9. Avoid Machiavellianism and be a person of high degree of good personal character. What is this Machiavellianism? People who are high on Machiavellianism, they don't care others. They try to achieve their selfish personal goals without considering their impact on others. They attempt, endeavor to achieve their personal goals at the expense of well-being of others. They don't care. They are not remorseful. They don't have fear. They don't have shame to do sins. So they are of course not team members. So I can remember, yes, in 1513, according to Professor Greenberg and Barrow, in 1997, the Italian philosopher, namely Niccolo Machiavelli, published a book entitled The Prince. In that book, he outlined a ruthless strategy for seizing and holding political power. This political power is organization, also is national. So according to him, never show humility. Ethics are for the weak people. Moral principles are for the weak people. So it is much better to be feared rather than loved. So therefore, do deceive people, tell lies, make fake promises if you can achieve your goals. So according to him. That is Machiavellianism. So please, never be a person of high level of Machiavellianism. Be a person of good personal character. What is personal character? This is the totality of good attributes, moral qualities a person has. This is about virtues and vices. So in fact, what we need is good personal quality, not the bad personal quality. Good personal quality, of course, good personal character is morality. It is civility. Bad personal character is immorality. It is about incivility. It is about incivility. So here there are two terms to be emphasized. One is virtue, the other one is vice. So what is a virtue? Virtue is a good thing. It's a favorable thing. Is useful for you, is useful for others, is useful for the nation, for the organization. Some virtues are, of course, patience, tolerance, honesty, humility, care, benevolence, so likewise. What is a vice? Vice is a bad thing, bad attribute, which is harmful for you, which is harmful for me, which is harmful for others, which is harmful for the nation, and also harmful for the world. Some examples: jealousy, stinginess, greed, anger, reprobation, retaliation, hostility. So in fact, you must have the ability to develop, enhance virtues within you to the maximum possible extent. You must have the ability to minimize vices, if possible, eradicate vices from you. So as far as my life is concerned, I never compromised my degree of morality for various life problems. So indeed, I also have to improve my morality. So my degree of morality caused me to be a person of ethics. Lesson number 10. That's the last lesson, by considering this limited time that I can talk about. Believe that attitude is a major factor that makes the difference between being successful and being unsuccessful. Psychologically, there are three components of the term of attitude. One is cognitive component, the other one is affective component, the other one is behavioral component. In simple, beliefs, feelings, and intention to behave. If you have right attitude, you will have right behavior. Most probably, if you have right behavior, you will get the right results at the end. So have a right attitude about your field, about your job. Maybe you have already obtained, or maybe in future, in the immediate future, you will get it. So you have a right attitude about the job, which you have selected, or which had to be. The right attitude includes positive thinking also. Positive thinking. So you think about your life positively. You consider your future optimistically, not pessimistically. Also, you have a high self-concept linked with high self-esteem. So as far as I am concerned, so my attitude, I have given Exhibit 1 in the speech as an illustration of my attitude of my field, which I am not going to tell because of the time limitation. Then your attitude about your life matters significantly. Don't think that this life is a tragedy. This life indeed a great gift. That is actually the greatest opportunity that you got to work. Also you got to enjoy. If there are many problems in the life, believe that there are solutions also for all these problems. If the life is a mystery, it is possible to recover. Sorry, it is possible to discover. If the life is a disease, it is possible to heal or recover. If the life is a, yes, of course, indeed, is a journey, so you are supposed to complete that journey. There's the beginning, there's the mid, there's the end. So you must have the courage and other key success factors to complete your journey successfully. So don't forget that you can get a great deal of happiness by helping others. By helping others. Also by loving others, at least someone to love. Making others happy makes you happy. So make sure not to be negaholic, not to be an alcoholic, also not to be a workaholic at the expense of non-work aspects of your life. So I'm reaching the end of my speech. Be proud of your legacy as graduates of this university. I wish you success and progress of success of course, in your future endeavors. Thank you indeed.
कुलपति स्वामीන් වහන්සේ උපාධි ප්‍රදානෝත්සවයේ පස්වරු සැසිවාරයේ ප්‍රධාන ආරාධිත සහභාගීත්වයේ වෙනුවෙන් මහාචාර්ය හේරත් හෙට්ටිආරච්චිගේ දේශප්‍රිය නන්දන පුෂ්පකුමාර ඕපාත මැතිතුමා වෙත පිරිනමන ලබන පළකය පිළිගන්වන ලෙස ගෞරවයෙන් ඉල්ලා සිටිමි. Great speech.